Welcome everyone to the third episode of my Saturday chat series. Today I'm just going to answer a few questions that I had left over from the first episode. I didn't get a lot of questions in last week's video, so we'll just get those answered. Just to start off, recap, the last three camps we saw in Monday, Wednesdays, Friday's video. I camped at Goodenough Creek in McCammon, Idaho. Cool little campground. There are some spots that are right on a creek in the shade, but those were all taken when I went there, and I ended up camping out in the full sun with no shade, and it was starting to warm up, so I knew I was going to be researching some spots next to a river. So rather than stay there more than one night, I moved right on to Pipeline Campground, where I found a riverside spot. I did end up going for one swim there. It got up into the low 90s, so it was nice to have that cool breeze coming right off the river. Really helped with the heat. And then after that I went to Milner Lake, which is on the Snake River also, near Hazelton, Idaho, and that was a great camp. I did get a sunburn there. I spent most of the day without my shirt swimming. Should have put on like waterproof sunscreen because it made it tough to sleep the next couple nights. My skin was just still, and is still pretty warm, but it's starting to fade a little bit. I usually get like one sunburn a year, and then I just usually get really dark. So I'm hoping that's the case, but I really do try to protect myself from the sun. I spent a lot of years working in the sun. I always wore long sleeve shirts and sunscreen. So moving on to that topic of dealing with the heat, I did get a question from Tiny House Prepper. He was asking about, he knows in the back of my van, none of my windows open. A lot of vans have like pop-out windows, and mine don't do that. So what I do is I use my roof vent fan. It's called the Fantastic Fan, and they truly are fantastic. I put it in exhaust mode, so it's sucking air from the inside and blowing it out of the van, and that draws air in from the side door, which I usually leave open. If it's hot, I'll have my side door wide open, and I put a screen there if there's bugs, and pretty much keep that open until it's been dark for a couple hours, the van is cooled down, then I'm able to shut the door, or some camps I leave it open all the way through the night if I'm comfortable. If I do close the door, I'll crack the two front windows and the air is able to draw in there, and I'll just leave the roof vent fan for most of the night. A lot of times I'll fall asleep, wake up and it's pretty cool, and then I'll just shut off the roof vent, and that's how I handle the heat. Would I like to have AC? You know, not really. The hassle of having a generator and running the generator isn't something that I want to commit to, carrying that around and extra gas. I've never really had AC in any of the apartments I've rented or houses I've rented. I didn't grow up with AC in the houses I grew up in, so I've just got used to toughing out the heat in the summer. I grew up in Southern California, and 90+ degrees is not uncommon. Now, if I was in a high humidity environment, like that one summer, last summer when I worked at AdventureVanMan, I did break down and I installed a temporary AC, and it got me through. I had full hookups there, so I was able to plug in and not have to use a generator. But I'm just trying to put myself in places where it's cooler climate in the summer, higher elevation, and like I'm going to be doing soon, heading towards the coast of Oregon and Washington, and hopefully seeking out some cooler temps for summer. Well, next question is from Moon Dancer. She asked about my cast iron skillets, what size they are. I'm using a smaller 8-inch one, so it works out really good for smaller meals. And then I have a bigger one. This is what I cook my pizzas in. I use those Bubbly pizza crusts, pre-made crusts, and it works out good in this. And I also use this for a lot of other meals. This one is 10¼ inch, I think it measures. So between the two, I'm pretty much covered. If you've watched my videos, you know that I was using those ceramic pans, those ceramic non-stick pans, and I actually still have them stored up front, but I'm going to try to give them away. I've just found that the non-stick quality doesn't work that well, and they became kind of tough to clean after a while. Things were sticking and it was hard to scrub them off, and I found that the cast iron skillets, they have a much better non-stick quality. I just enjoy using them better to clean them. Once I'm done removing all the food that I've cooked in it, anything that's stuck in there while it's still good and hot, I just dump water in there. It kind of boils up for a second. I let it just sit while I'm eating till it cools, and then I find with like a silicone spatula, everything just comes right off. Can dump it, rinse it one time, dry it, then I apply a little bit of oil to it, put it back in the drawer, and it's good to go for the next meal. Well, next question is from Pizza Dad. He asked if I was interested in traveling internationally. I do have interest in traveling internationally. Two spots I would love to see would be Australia and New Zealand. Probably not going to happen in the near future. I don't even have a passport. I'm working on getting one, but definitely something I would like to do in the future. Give me something to work for, save up some money for. So probably would put the van in storage if I did that, store it somewhere, take my trip, come back, and be able to have the van there waiting for me. Next question is from Defiantly Darling. I've actually met Darling in Lake Havasu. It was really cool to meet you, Darling. I hope we run into each other again. She was asking about companionship on the road and finding people my age. Me and Darling are in the same age group, and she was asking a question basically, is it an issue for me? Because on the road I've noticed, and she was commenting she noticed as well, that it's mostly like retired age or like early 20s, and being in my early 40s, I've just found that there's not a lot of people my age out there on the road. We're kind of a minority. So I just try to really value when I do run into someone my age. There is kind of a camaraderie. We have a lot of things in common, references to movies and music, stuff like that. It's just kind of neat to be around people your age, and you know, there's just not a lot out there. You know me from my videos, I do like my solitude, so like I said, I just try to enjoy people's company. I usually can get along with almost anyone regardless of their age, but when I do meet someone my age, it is kind of special, and I just try to enjoy it as much as I can in the moment. Okay, next question is from Jim Brown. Jim Brown is a viewer from Africa. I think that's just awesome. Jim was asking about ham radio, if I've ever considered getting one, getting a license to operate one. If you don't know about ham radio, they're also referred to, I believe, as amateur radio. You do need a license to operate them. The information I've found, it's fairly easy to get the license. You just have to study up a little bit, find a place to take the test, and then go ahead and purchase your radio. I'm looking into buying a handheld unit. Coincidentally, I've met a couple people that have recommended them for emergency purposes. Basically how that would work for an emergency, if I was somewhere without a cell signal and something happened and I needed to contact help, couldn't do it through my cell phone, was immobilized where I couldn't drive and get help, I could try my ham radio and hopefully contact another operator, explain my emergency situation, my location, and then they could contact some authorities, emergency services, to get help to me. So that's why I would have a ham radio. Kind of be fun too, just to hear. I mean, you can transmit and get signals from all over the world if you're in the right place, so I think that would be kind of fun. So something I'm looking into for sure. If anyone knows anything about ham radio or any little handheld devices that aren't too expensive, let me know in the comment section. I'd appreciate it. Go ahead and wrap it up there, guys. If you haven't noticed, I'm a little tired and fatigued today. I'll be honest, the heat is getting to me. I'm going to be looking forward to getting to the coast of Oregon and Washington. I know there'll still be some warm temps there, but being by the ocean should be a lot nicer. I'll have some stretches between where I am now in Idaho and there of probably some pretty good heat, but we'll just do our best dealing with it. I'm going to try to seek out lakes and rivers so I can cool off. Other than that, if you have any other questions, go ahead and leave it in the comment section for next week. We'll address those. I do have some exciting stuff coming up. Got a really cool van tour to show you probably midweek next week, so you can look forward to that. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.